that is MSMEs with focus on financing and logistics in the Indian context. Micro, small and medium enterprises play a significant role in the economic growth of the country owing to their contribution to production, exports and employment. The sector contributes 8% to the country's GDP, 45% to the manufactured output, and 40% to the country's exports. It provides employment to 60 million people through over 28 million enterprises. Significantly, the MSME sector has maintained a higher growth rate vis-a-vis the overall industrial sector during the past decade. The MSME sector produces a wide range of products, from simple consumer goods to high-precision, sophisticated finished products. It has emerged as a major supplier of mass consumption goods, as well as a producer of electronic and electrical equipment and drugs and pharmaceuticals. An impetus to this sector is likely to have a multiplier effect on the economic growth of the country. However, the pandemic that hit the MSMEs has hit us really badly. The segment has perhaps been the hardest hit due to the prolonged lockdown. As the economic activity slowed down and came to a halt, MSMEs have been grappling with problems like cash flow, low liquidity, supply chain issues, and lack of workforce. In a move to curb the economic impact of the pandemic, the Government of India and the Reserve Bank of India have been taking various initiatives to inject liquidity into the banking system so as to provide some respite to businesses during the COVID-19 crisis, such as offering moratorium on term loans and formulation of emergency credit line guarantee scheme. The unanticipated crisis has also hurt the demand for MSME products manufactured by companies. Unwanted disruptions in the supply chain caused by frequent lockdowns, grounded airlines, restricted road transport, border controls, and similar other obstacles have further impacted their sales. Ensuring fast and safe movement of goods amidst these turbulent times became a challenge, and therefore logistics assumed a very important role in the COVID-19 scenario. This is all the more so in case of essential commodities, where maintaining an optimum supply chain became the need of the hour for MSMEs, so as to be able to meet the consumer demand in time and also ensure their very own survival. Also, to address the perennial challenges of marketing MSME products, the government has launched the Government e-Marketplace, GEM. In the last 4 years since its launch, of all procurement made in GEM, a significant 61% was carried out by MSMEs. While Indian policymakers have the tough task of containing a public health pandemic, as well as formulating swift policies to protect the most vulnerable from its adverse economic effect, a committed response to support the MSMEs is essential and key to easing the impact of the crisis for these entrepreneurs, their employees, and the Indian economy as a whole. With these few words, I once again welcome all our eminent guests and speakers and look forward to fruitful deliberations and interactions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. In fact, you touched upon a very important point, GEM and e-procurement. ICC has been working very closely with the union government and helping the members to, subscribe to the e-procurement so that MSMEs get access to larger marketplace. So this is already in place, and we have been doing that for the last 1 year across nooks and corners of the country. May I now request Ms. S. Glory Swarupa, Director General, National Institute for MSME, Hyderabad, Ministry of MSME, Government of India, to share her thoughts with us. We have a MOU in place with National Institute for MSME, and we have been working very closely with them for multiple issues which affects the MSME sector across the country. So, Ms. Swarupa, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Namaskar. Honorable Honorable Minister for MSME, Shri Siddharthanath Singh, for Export Promotion, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Eminent speakers in this inaugural session, Mr. Inderdeep Singh, Mr. Aditya Shah, and subsequent sessions in the panelists. Very good morning and greetings to all from National Institute for Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises, Hyderabad, Ministry of MSME, Government of India. I'm very much happy and thankful to ICC for providing an opportunity for NIMSME to participate in the inaugural session of MSME Assist Steps to Excel. This is a very timely program which helps the MSMEs uh, to come across MSMEs who are, in the verge of all these challenges with logistics, with the finances, and with various other issues. I'm very happy to share that National Institute for MSME was working very closely with Uttar Pradesh government, especially industries department. We have contributed largely for the development of the industrial sector in Uttar Pradesh state. Since this institute was established in the year 1960 at Delhi, and in 1962 we shifted to Hyderabad, and since then we have been serving the nation and we have been contributing for the MSME sector growth and promotion. Largely we are doing the capacity building of Indian officers, especially in industries and commerce department, and other line departments like rural development, agriculture, and various other departments, especially in the science and technology sector also, management institutions, and polytechnics, ITIs. Likewise, several institutions we have been building the capacity. More than 5 lakh officers have been trained from this institute, and 10,000 foreign executives, international executives representing 143 nations are also being trained in various MSME learnings and technologies developed in India. And we did a lot of research, consultancy, and studies to Government of India. We have completed almost 1,000 studies, and for UP government, since 2000, we have developed 21 DPRs, detailed project reports, in various districts. And during the year 2010, we have completed 2 clusters in Barabanki and Mubarakpur, that is sponsored by Ministry of Textiles and Handlooms. We have completed these clusters and handed over, and they are functioning very well. And I'm also very happy to share that we are very much part of the One District, One Product scheme that is sponsored by, again, Department of Industries, Government of Uttar Pradesh. So this is a very innovative concept, and it is being practiced by various other countries, especially China. And we have initiated in India and Uttar Pradesh in forefront, not only for this concept, but various other industrial development programs. Uttar Pradesh has been in the forefront, taken a lot of initiatives, and we have completed 10 products in 10 districts. Let me just read out. We have completed black pottery in Azamgarh, ceramic pottery in Bulandshahr, terracotta in Gorakhpur, woodcraft in Maharajganj, patchwork in Rampur, Monj in Sultanpur, again Monj in Amethi, black printing in Farrukhabad, and handmade paper in Jalan, and Monj in Prayagraj. So we take pride that we have been part and parcel of all the development activities related to MSMEs in Uttar Pradesh. So this is how we have been handholding the officers and the artisans and various other stakeholders in Uttar Pradesh development. From our institute, we have also been doing various other activities during pandemic, of course, to take care of all the stakeholders in MSME sector, as shared by Mr. Singh, the various statistics. So I would like to just add that still we need a lot of space for job creation. Every year, more than 1 million youngsters are becoming eligible for for getting the jobs. So to meet this requirement, we are promoting entrepreneurship among all the stakeholders in various sectors, whether it is food processing or pharma, or it is textiles, or rural development, or logistics, supply chain, export promotion. So we have been building the capacity through skill development and through entrepreneurship development and through management development. And we have been focusing on the women entrepreneurship related programs also, because women contribution is only 10%. And we have very less number of enterprises, micro enterprises owned by women, though women contribution labor force is major in lot of the manufacturing industries, but their ownership is very less. So we are also trying to promote and encourage women and empower women. As we all know, the call given by Honorable Prime Minister that India will reach 5 trillion economy, and our Honorable Union Minister for MSME has promised that 3 trillion would be from MSME sector. It is a very ambitious and great task. We are all working towards that. And once the lockdown started, it's exactly 1 year. Our ministry has come out with a help desk called Champions Desk. Through this help desk, we have been offering various services to the distressed MSMEs and who are in difficulties. It operates in a spoke and hub model. So every state they have established a hub in MSME Development Institution or our sister concern institutions in our Ministry of MSME. Through this Champions Desk, we have catered to the needs of the stakeholders, especially through finances who are having a lot of NPAs and funds of funds. All these services have been provided, and who are having a lot of grievances also. These grievances have been attended through this Champions Desk. And I'm also very happy to share that our ministry has established a task force, MSME task force. Under this, four important segments have been defined. So one is for Industry 4.0. Another important one is through this for financial services. So I request so all the participants and all the eminent guests to go through the ministry's website. We will find more details. You can disseminate this information, MSME task force, so that all the stakeholders will take benefit of this initiative from our ministry. And at our institute, we have National Resource Center for Cluster Development, as I shared. We have completed 120 clusters so far, including 2 in Uttar Pradesh and 21 detailed project reports for Uttar Pradesh government alone. But Pan India, we have been operating these clusters, and at present we are implementing 58 clusters for the benefit of many stakeholders. And we, as shared by Mr. Singh regarding this GEM, so we have a specialized faculty in our institute, and we have been helping all the stakeholders for GEM registration, Udyam registration, as we are well aware that March 31st is the last date to close the UAM 1, UAM 2, and to adopt this Udyam registration, which is a new concept to bring all the micro entrepreneurs and small entrepreneurs under one umbrella and offer many benefits to them. And we have a GST cell. Through this GST cell also, we are helping the stakeholders to get to file the returns, to get the registrations and all the benefits which government is offering for them. We have an export facilitation center. Through that, we are helping the capacity building of the officers so that they will help their stakeholders. And we have a business incubation center. And during pandemic, we have provided the space to women entrepreneurs to start their production and marketing activities. We are also helping various MSMEs to register with us for e-commerce and branding of their products. And we have been conducting the job melas and loan melas, especially after the lockdown. Once it is open since December onwards, we have been conducting to help the unemployed youth and women, and also the service sector or industries, service sector MSMEs, so who are having a lot of difficulties, who wanted to change their line of activity, who wanted to diversify, and we have been helping them. And we also have Entrepreneurship Development Center. Through this, we are offering the hand-holding services, mentoring services, and we have been aligned ourselves to cater to the needs of the national and international MSMEs through various services and products. We have migrated to online. Now, how we are doing this program? We are doing many international programs also for the developing nations. So this is how we have been offering a range of services. And I'm very happy that we have been provided the space here. And we are always working with the many federations and associations. For any service, any kind of association, collaboration, joint programs, joint projects, we are ready to collaborate with the Uttar Pradesh government under the able leadership of Honorable Minister Sir, and you can assign us, and we will look forward to your guidance, to your suggestions, and to your partnership. And we are in the process of helping the MSMEs and contribute for the development and revival of the MSMEs and revitalization. And definitely we will extend our help, our services, and help all the MSMEs. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Swarupa. It was a wonderful deliberation from your side. And if you wouldn't have said, we wouldn't have known that so much activity you people have done in the state of Uttar Pradesh. And obviously, you are a national institution, so you will be helping MSMEs come up the learning curve across states. So good to hear all the good things that you are doing. Now we have an industry address, which will be delivered by our senior member, Aditya Shah. He's an executive director with VTrans. It's a large logistical organization, and he will be sharing his thoughts with us. And then we'll have the chief guest's address, which will be delivered by the Honorable Minister. Mr. Shah.
Thank you, and good morning to distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MSME Assist Steps to Excel. We all know that MSMEs are the backbone of the Indian economy, with more than 6 crore units and a contribution of more than 30% in terms of services and manufacturing to the GDP. I believe it's a segment which nobody can ignore in the country today. However, the COVID has hit the sector very hard. MSME sector has been facing strong contraction in revenue, and the problems are immense. It has also suffered loss of business opportunity, lot of liquidity crunch, and dipping in demand. Amidst the crisis is the government's consideration for the stressed sector that has provided much impetus for it. As India focuses on the post-COVID-19 recovery, the revival of the MSME sector is clearly understood as the key to employment generation and the distribution of benefits of the economy. The lack of working capital so far has constrained many of the shuttered, marginally functioning and surviving MSMEs from returning to their full economic potential. Therefore, the RBI called out for the financial institutions to adopt cash flow-based lending. The industry applauded the dynamism that the government wants to bring in, addressing the capital requirements of MSMEs, which incidentally comprise 95% of the businesses in the country. It would not be wrong to say that ever since the cash flow-based lending has been adopted, it has literally been trending when it comes to most of our discussions when it comes to the MSMEs. So the estimate says that the debt requirement of the MSME sector in the country to flourish is around 16 lakh crores. However, access to the finance for the MSMEs has been a big challenge. While things have improved, there is a long way to go. Over the last decade, NBFCs and microfinance institutions played a huge role here, and later the fintech companies in providing funding to the sector. Another angle which we also should consider is the logistic angle. During the start of the pandemic, many countries across the world went down for lockdown as a prompt response to the global health emergency, and because of which virtually the global supply chain had collapsed. As a result, shipments were lying across factories, warehouses, in transit. However, the logistics industry, which we proudly are part of, has been in the front line since the beginning of the unprecedented crisis, ensuring that the supply chains remain intact. In such times, new age logistics companies have also come to the rescue. Technology-driven logistics service providers who offer paperless and no or low contact operations have assumed a key role, giving power to small businesses to improve their deliveries and streamline them in the best possible manner. With a customer-centric approach, companies now need to deliver best-in-class customer experience. The MSME industry, despite having the benefits of agility and innovation, they need to constantly deliver consistent quality services as offered by the larger players. This is where technology and automation become an imperative solution for the MSMEs. Digitization will play an important role in the efficiency and performance in freight management and port operations. Automation in the warehouses will help achieve operational efficiencies to counter supply chain cost pressures for the segment. Growth in the investment in infrastructure, last mile connectivity, and emerging technologies will all help streamline the logistics landscape in India itself. So there are a lot of government measures like campaigns like Vocal for Local, Atmanirbhar Bharat. These are supporting homegrown brands and also helping the MSME sector to get back onto the track of becoming a large contributor to the economy. We earnestly wish that the MSME sector grows, as their growth will result in the growth of our economy and also be one of the largest contributors of employment which this country very much requires. So initiatives and forums like this one, where eminent speakers and industry experts throw light on the solutions for the possible challenges, are a small way in which we intend to help the MSME segment. I thank you all for joining today's session. I'm sure everyone can get practical tips for making their business better. Again, welcoming the Honorable Minister and the other distinguished speakers. Thank you very much and looking forward to a great session from all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah. You genuinely highlighted the issues faced by the logistics industry. I used to oversee logistics industry for ICC for 4 or 5 years. So, I'm cognizant of the problems. Even today, if I'm not taking care of it, but I still speak to the industry players and I'm cognizant of the problems. May I now request our chief guest for today's inaugural session, Sri Siddharth Nath Singh, Honorable Minister for MSME and Export Promotion, Government of Uttar Pradesh, to share his chief guest address with us. Honorable Minister, it's yours.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Banerjee, for giving me this opportunity. And certainly I am grateful to ICC and your organization for representing Uttar Pradesh in this important discussion on MSME SS steps to excel, and particularly looking at the financing and the logistics. I've been very carefully listening to Ms. Glory Swaroopji, Mr. Aditya Shah, and also the opening remarks of your North Regional Council's President, Mr. Inderdeep Singh ji. Let me begin because I'm going to be speaking on Uttar Pradesh. But when I speak about Uttar Pradesh, I think it's in itself, we are a country. We are the largest state, but certainly we work like a country because the length and breadth of Uttar Pradesh perhaps is the 6th or the 5th largest in the world now. If we were the country, we are not the country, and we are proud to be a part of the Indian federal structure. But MSME problems or the state's problem, particularly when we relate with the COVID, cannot be very generalized. You know, the problems that, it's across the country that is being faced. But certainly everybody has faced some problem or the other. One can very generally say the financing is always there in tough times. So it goes without saying whether it's a pandemic or it's not a pandemic. Then support on the logistics will be always the basis of the infrastructure that you create. So when the pandemic came, we started looking at ourselves and started analyzing where we stood and what the problem as a state we face and how do we recover. It's important to understand that every state, Gujarat, if I go, it's a manufacturing state. If we go to Maharashtra or Karnataka, it's a different, they have a different set of things. Similarly, when we talk about Uttar Pradesh, we are agrarian-based economy with our 60 to 70% of our economic revenue coming through the agriculture. Now, we do have the largest MSME in the country. We are 9 million MSME, which is a large number, and we contribute to 14.5% to the state GDP. So we do have a variety, since I'm speaking 9 million, so we do have from electrical to machinery to food processing and other. But the ideal was that to support during the pandemic, and relook our policies, particularly which can be based on a revival in the first go, based on our own strength. Now, we have 24 crore people. Now, their requirement on certain essential things need to be catered. Now, whether it is through, if the logistics supply chain has been disturbed, so you can still cater with your own MSME in the small, particularly in the small and the medium sectors, you can cater to your own requirement on the essential items. So we have very good schemes called the ODOP, which is one district, one product. We have another very good scheme, which is called the Vishkarma Shram Samman Yojana. Now, through the Khadi village industry, we support many other activities, particularly in the rural belt. We started promoting them, and through online loan mailers, we came across number of cases, and we worked very closely with our SLBCs. And I always say the SLBC has still a lot of scope. Like government always has the scope to do much better. So SLBCs can also do much better. But within this time frame of last 11 months, we managed to give a loan worth 42,500 crores in Uttar Pradesh. And this was not to a small sector. It was 13 lakh units, in which we had 3.5 lakh old units, and the rest were all new units which got loans. And they were able to revive the economy also. There was a supply chain, particularly since we have food processing through our, now we have 14 clusters. So it's 14 clusters that I have with the common facility centers that we created. We were able to actually execute the essential commodities, particularly in the food sector, be it oil, vegetables oil, be it on the, wheat or rice mills. So all these things we were able to keep pushing through the essential commodities. And therefore, Uttar Pradesh became very self-reliant during the COVID in many things. For example, in the health sector, we never had a sanitizer plant. Now we started manufacturing, we manufactured 2 crore liters per day because our sugar mills, we asked our sugar mills to start manufacturing sanitizers. But there was a problem, they had to go off work. Now during the COVID, the government came up with the policy, our chief minister thought about it. And we as a MSME, we started looking at it. So we are now supplying to the country 2 crore liters. Similarly, now we came up, our Khadi industry, we realized that many of the people, because the COVID is there, they will be off work. So post-COVID or pre-COVID, I would say, we were working with our various schemes called Vishkarma Shram Samman Yojana, where we give a toolkit after a training program of almost about 10 to 15 days, particularly in the tailoring side. Now, the data bank was available. We immediately went to our weavers. We said, here it is Khadi, products. Now start making Khadi cloth. So over 1 crore masks were immediately got into production, which landed up into 6 crore mass production. And many then privately started picking up. So UP became on the mask. We never went back to anybody. So Khadi mask became very popular because of Prime Minister, himself, saying cloth can be used, 2 gaz ki duri, wrap kar lo, apna gamcha wrap karo. All these things were coming up. So I'm giving few examples just to narrate that yes, there is a crisis, but they can be converted into opportunity if the government wishes, and we come up with innovative ideas or out-of-box ideas. So the employment was being generated, and we continued generating, and we went in that direction. And today, I'm happy to say that, despite the COVID, despite the problems faced, the UP has managed to jump from the 6th rank to the 2nd rank in the country, recently announced by the Finance Ministry, Government of India, as a state GDP. After Maharashtra, it's Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh was a Bimaru state always, but we could have, people always thought we will slide down. Our exports this year, despite COVID, again I'm saying, we have registered 1,21,000 crores. So in last 3 years, we have jumped by 38%. And the biggest contributor to the entire exercise has been the ODOP. So these are some great examples just to give that, yes, we had a problem. As a nation, we continue to face the problem. As a state, we continue to face the problem. But there is an opportunity. We promoted e-commerce and the GEM. Certainly, we are MSME, my ministry is handling the GEM portal also in the country and in the state. We have a policy that 25% of the MSMEs of Uttar Pradesh, 25% of all the government purchases will be made to the MSMEs of Uttar Pradesh. We give them a price preference if it's a tender nationally to match. That is a 15% price preference we also allow. So it's a part of our policy. We give NOCs in 72 hours. You apply online. We have a MSME Sati, an app which we launched during the COVID. And if you go through our Nivesh portal, when you apply for a license, 72 hours, the license is given. It's an act supported by a legislature. So it's now a law in the state. So within 72 hours, you will get all the approvals, deemed approval. And within 3 years, you have to collect all the approvals and then submit to the MSME department. So this is being encouraged. Perhaps we never thought about flatted factories, the plug-and-play system. COVID gave us a challenge. We thought it's an opportunity. Why not create that opportunity? So 4 flatted factories are coming up, areas are coming up. We came up with a very good, during the COVID, of a logistic and warehousing policy. We give them an industrial status. We reduced from 40 acres, which was in the initial our industrial policy, to 25 acres. Now I'm processing as an investment minister. 2 have already come. 5 more I'm processing as large logistic and warehousing parks in the Uttar Pradesh. We are certainly taking the advantage of the dedicated freight corridors, which now is length and breadth, it crosses across Uttar Pradesh. We have already identified 1 lakh acres of land, out of which 28,000 acres are absolutely ready for acquiring. It can be, it's or for allotment, which we can give. So there are many things which we are doing under the e-commerce. We are already with Amazon for all the ODOP products and many other products. We are with the Flipkart. We have already launched our ODOP Mart.com, which our products are being showcased there. We went with the Walmart people for their new Vriddhi E Institute in Agra. So many other areas which we are also covering under MSME, just to manage our resources, our strengths, help coming through the financing and the logistics side also. And I think UP, despite the crisis, we have been able to focus largely on our food processing industry. Our focus has been in the defense industry, a lot of ancillary support industries which we are creating in our defense corridor. Our IT and electronics is something which we have excelled, I would say, as a state and during the pandemic. And many are coming to Uttar Pradesh for establishing their units. So new opportunities are being tapped, and I feel this is the way forward, supported by the government policies, new policies, reforms, and also the support of the government and the leadership of our Chief Minister. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. I look forward of interacting individually or otherwise with the chamber or the members in near future. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. In fact, few points during your deliberation which was spoken has caught our attention. It was very interesting to know about the changeover of the sugar mills into sanitizer manufacturing units. I think, this should be a case study in the B schools. Something like this in unheard of in any part of the world. And obviously, this is something which is very interesting and that saved the heyday. We in fact, our understanding of Uttar Pradesh as a national chamber of the country is that the state has undergone sea change in terms of its perception, in terms of how things used to see. I am working with Uttar Pradesh government across political dispensation for the last 5 years. So things have gone through a sea change today. For any international programs that we do, senior civil service, additional chief secretary, principal secretary, they all come, they attend the program, they speak, they sponsor. People like you, who have been speaking very, very professionally. It's very difficult to distinguish whether you're a politician or you are a CEO of a company.
Well, thank you very much.
This change in outlook is very attractive, and I think this is going to build a lot of confidence in the entrepreneurs who are attending today's program. In fact, from 1992, ICC and other chambers has been availing the scheme called MAI. It is something which Government of India does, Market Access Initiative, and we do around 20 plus delegations across the world in terms of promoting the MSMEs. The idea is 90% of the scheme, its government funding, should be availed to the MSMEs, and we grow across the world, be it Latin America, be it Australia, be it Africa, be it Middle East. And Indian MSMEs, they showcase their products under India Pavilion for last 3 days. And, many, for the last 2-3 years, what we have observed, many companies from Uttar Pradesh are making a beeline to avail these schemes, which is obviously doled through the chambers. I would like to personally call on you and discuss how we can do more linkages with African countries and Uttar Pradesh. Africa is one area which is handled from our Delhi office. So if you permit sometime next month.
You're welcome anytime, Mr. Banerjee. You're very welcome. And in fact, I would suggest, why don't you draft an MOU with MSME department? And certainly our, as an export minister, I wear about eight hats as a minister, so different ministry. So why didn't you draft something? And I would then work out with my export ministry to link with you, or we can sign through our UP Export Promotional Council and between ICC and MOU, where then we'll give a thrust so that all our exporters who are registered with us automatically comes with you, and they can be registered, and they can avail the opportunities that you're offering.
Absolutely. It will go to the right hand. Central government is funding, chambers dole out that money. So, and if you give the people, then it will be in safe hands.
Mr. Banerjee, I'll share with all the panelists, and particularly with Miss Sarup also. It's a great institute where she is working, I've heard, because there have been many bureaucrats who are retired, and I know who have gone there. And one of the former chief secretaries of Andhra Pradesh during the Chandrababu Naidu's regime, he's one of the very vocal about the institute, and a good friend of mine. You see, the issue where it lies, we all work on the backward linkages a lot. There's nothing wrong in working on the backward linkage, and it gives a good optics also. That, you go to the village, rural areas, you get hold of the women's and they're working as craftsmen, or go to the potteries, you work there. Somewhere as a nation, I always say that we miss out on the forward linkages. Now, there is forward linkages is certainly a part, the logistic is certainly a part of the forward linkages. But the market availability and showcasing, which now you are expressing through this Government of India scheme and ICC promoting that, this helps the forward linkages. Unless until we don't bring the consumer to the backward linkage, nothing will work for us. And this is something which I've been focusing. I've engaged PwC as my consultant. They've been helping me, and that's one of the reasons that despite COVID, I've been able to, as a state, we have been able to enter certain pockets where China, due to global disturbances or global reasons of their activities, people, the countries or institutions stopped buying from them. Now, I had a consultant on board who helped us. And with our products, be it a very small product also, I'll give you an example. We promoted a rice called Kala Namak in Siddharth Nagar. It's a district in Siddharth Nagar next to Gorakhpur. Now, it's a mention of Kala Namak is there in the Ramayana also. Can you believe that? That was dwindling as a traditional food product. We helped that to grow. Japan was and Singapore were looking for that product. Now, the reason is well known from where it was earlier coming, China. We came to know about it in our discussion PwC or their research paper they had given to us. Immediately, I got hold of my officers and we contacted the Indian embassy there and the help with the Japanese embassy in Singapore, embassy here, High Commission in Delhi. Personally, I contacted, and that rice is being exported 600 rupees a kilo. Can you imagine that?
Unthinkable.
100 रुपए में हम नहीं बेच पा रहे थे सिद्धार्थ नगर में, and they were dying as a traditional item. The miller were unable to sell within the country or within the state. उनको 600 रुपए मिल रहा है. Where are they going to land up now? And where our UP's export will go? So these are the things which I personally feel chambers like ICC, many institutes can help us and guide us to take us there. So rest depends on the government, the state government, the leadership, everybody. But anyway, I think it's not a one-to-one discussion. So it's a different discussion. I wish it was more of a panel discussion. I would have interacted better. But certainly, it's a great opportunity for us to come on this platform and share our views. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Again,
Mr. Banerjee, can I take half minute?
Sure.
Yeah. As rightly told by Honorable Minister, sir, Telangana state is the larger beneficiary of this sanitizer, because we don't have here, and there were no sugar mills, and state has largely imported from Uttar Pradesh state.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And sir, you are most welcome to this institute. When you are happen to in Hyderabad, you can visit us. Otherwise, also you are most welcome.
I'll love to do that. I'll do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And with this, it was a wonderful deliberation from the minister's side. It is hard to distinguish whether he's a politician or whether he's a formal, corporate CEO, the way he has, translated. And overall basis, this is what is needed. The attitude of the state has changed. This is clearly, which is our observation. Because, recently we did this India-UK Business Forum. So the bureaucrats from UP were all out with us. So that clearly reinforces that they're looking for international linkages, how to put the state in an upward curve. And obviously, Minister's words give a lot of confidence. And I'm sure that Uttar Pradesh is in safe hands.
Thank you.
So with this note, I would like to formally, propose a hearty vote of thanks and request all concerned to carry it with a note of acclamation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now start our panel discussion 1, and may I request the moderator, Professor Vinay Datta, to take things forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. And I will just take few minutes to introduce the topic, and then two of the experts from banks, Mr. Amit Tuli, who is head MSME Bank of Baroda, and Dr. Subhranshu Acharya, General Manager and Regional Head, New Delhi region of SIDBI. So before going into any kind of, I am not going to take much time in any niceties. And I am not going to introduce what MSME is, nor I'm going to define. I'll just start with the topic of the discussion. And the topic is inclusive growth and financial inclusion, the role of MSMEs. Okay, what way? So let me first start with the concept. What exactly do we mean by inclusive growth? Okay, so essentially, when we talk of inclusive growth, we are talking in the context of advancement of equal opportunities for economic participation between stakeholders. And it is here we need to appreciate the role of the MSMEs which they are playing in terms of numbers contributed to GDP, in terms of employment, in terms of entrepreneurship development, in terms of their contribution to exports. And second part of this, which I'm going to talk about, is the financial inclusion. So if we look to the definition itself of the financial inclusion, which is given by Reserve Bank of India, it talks about 4 A's particularly. The first, because rather than giving the definition, then it will become too theoretical. I'll just concentrate on the 4 A's. Okay, the first is the access. Okay, so what do we mean by access, and why they say access is success? And that is probably where the panelists are going to talk about what exactly their respective banks and financial institutions in general are doing, and how they are leveraging the technology in creating this access, because reach is something which has been talked about. If we go by the statistics, okay, during the pandemic, they announced that 3 lakh crore emergency credit line guarantee scheme. And just to share statistics with you, which is released very recently in the Rajya Sabha, they says up to 82% of that has already been sanctioned. Okay, so but still grievance remains. So the panelists are going to address that if the money is being sanctioned, then why is it that still MSMEs are having grievances when it relates to the barriers to access? Okay, so that is the first part, is access. The second part, probably where they are focusing in this inclusive growth and as well as the financial inclusion, is the awareness part of it. Okay, it is very important, because if you don't create awareness, okay, then there will be a lot of myths which will be created in the system. Something which is happening, okay, bankers are taking initiatives, financial institutions are taking initiative, they are formulating schemes, okay, they are coming out with innovative products, okay, they are coming out with financial literacy programs, the skill development programs, okay, the mentoring. And it is here probably when Mr. Dibankar and the minister talked about attitudinal change. So if you say it is not happening, okay, in my opinion it is happening. Okay, but for creating this awareness, probably we may have to still take more initiatives. Okay, so what specific initiatives are being taken by financial institutions and the participating gentlemen from these 2 banks, they will be sharing with you. The third A is which I will call is the appropriateness. So the definition, I'm not just giving you the definition, I'm giving the gist of the definition and how it relates to the furthering the cause, okay, of the MSMEs, which we say are engines of growth, okay, employment generators, okay, so many things we are talking about. Okay, so when we say appropriateness, so appropriateness essentially means the suitability. Okay, if you come out with products and services, okay, which are not understandable, so the ease with which people, ultimately the question is, the users, if they don't understand the product, okay, then what is the usefulness of that product? So in that sense, we are saying is suitability, okay, of the products. So appropriateness of the product, but it is good for financial institutions as well, because the more people understand the product, okay, the more they know what is the value proposition which is being created out of the products and services which are offered by the financial community as a whole. Okay, you are primarily creating more trust and reliability, okay, among the MSME community, and essentially it will lead to less default rates, and it becomes little more easier for you to pursue, okay, and monitoring becomes easy. So how do you define the products, design the products, disseminate the information, very, very important. And of course, last word which they have talked in this is, I will read that. It's a particularly at an appropriate cost in a fair and transparent manner. Okay. So naturally, the fourth is the affordability. The question is, if you are coming out with the products which are not affordable by the community itself, then what is the fun of it? Okay. So with these very brief, about what exactly is the theme of today's panel discussions. Okay. I will right now not talk much about it and let the people who are day in and out into this activity, they, share their views. So let me start with first Mr. Subhranshu Acharya. Mr. Subhranshu Acharya, can you be on your video? Can you switch on?
Yeah, good morning.
So once again, good morning to Mr. Tulli and Mr. Acharya. Incidentally, I'm an ex-banker, but now into teaching. So my first question is to Dr. Acharya. Okay, Dr. Acharya, what approach financial institutions, banks, and NBFCs follow in general, and you as well as Bank of Baroda in particular, in driving MSME growth, and how does it contribute to inclusive growth? So you can give your opening remark and then it will be followed by Mr. Tulli. Thank you. Please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Very good morning to everyone here. And thank you for this opportunity. I think it was great listening to our Honorable Minister Siddharthanath Singh and the Director of National Institute for MSME. A great platform. I'll just answer to the point that you have raised, that what is the approach. But before that, I think you very appropriately raised the issues of accessibility, affordability, and appropriateness of the product. We are talking about credit. However, there are several issues that also hampers credit and they hampers the growth of MSMEs. Credit is just one of them. It is not end all, or it is definitely not panacea. It's not that if credit is made available, the MSMEs will succeed. It's not that. There are several other issues. Very appropriately, you have also chosen logistics as a topic. It is very, very pertinent in today's context. So I'll restrict my discussion to credit because that is what we have been asked to do. I'll say the SIDBI is, we are a financial institution. We are the apex level financial institution for promotion, development, and financing of the MSMEs. And we understand, there are, when you talk about credit, yes, there are these issues of accessibility and affordability. That's correct. But what is that is hampering the growth of the credit flow to the MSME sector? You said, that yes, the statistics also says 12 to 14% of our MSMEs get formal credit. But at the same time, we must also understand that there is absence of formalization amongst our MSMEs. How many MSMEs are actually formalized? The GST regime is slowly bringing in more and more MSMEs to the formal fold. At the same time, if you see the Udyam registration portal or the the portal, etc., the total number of MSMEs that are actually registered or are in the formal financial system are in the range of maybe 12 to 13%. So a staggering number of nearly 90% of the MSMEs operate in informal sector, and definitely expecting the formal financial institutions to touch base with the MSMEs which are not operating in formal sector is something that we have to really think about and work on it. It's not that people are not working on it. We'll talk about it at a later stage. But you said, what exactly has been the approach? I'll say that, one of the main things that was existing in the minds of the banker, you are an ex-banker, you will vouch for it. There is a cognitive bias against the MSMEs that possibly the probability of default of MSME loans is a bit higher. So that is the reason, actually, if you look at it from a risk management perspective, the expected loss of any exposure is a statistical metric of exposure at default, then loss given default, and probability of default. So this probability of default, there is a perception bias that possibly it is high, and loss given default again is also high because there is absence of collateral security. So that brings us this issue why actually the flow of credit to the MSME is not very high. So number one, the absence of formalization in most of the MSMEs. Two, there is possibly a cognitive bias, and third, the absence of collateral security. And as the Apex financial institution, we have tried to approach all these things through different institutional mechanisms. We have tried to build institutions which are actually helping the banking system to dispense more and more credit to the MSMEs. We have in 2005, we had introduced the concept of enterprise rating in the country. We started SME Rating Agency of India Limited that gave one third-party rating, third-party neutral rating to the MSMEs at the enterprise level. Earlier, the ratings were of the papers or debt papers or equity papers, but we started giving rating of the enterprises. So, that actually helped the banks to somehow overcome this cognitive bias. And then in the year 2000, collateral security being one of the major issues, which is again because of the loss given default, is something that was possibly hindering the banking sector to lend more and more. We had introduced this CGTMSE. Now it is up to loan of 200 lakhs, up to rupees 2 crore loan can be availed from the banking system without collateral security, provided the banks are satisfied with the credit quality and the bankability of the proposal. So there are many such initiatives that are being taken, and yes, MSME sector with more than 7 crore units and 11 crore offering employment opportunities to 11 crore people is definitely the biggest contributor to the inclusive growth program that the country has embarked upon. Because financial inclusion must, I always believe, should actually rather the economic inclusion should precede financial inclusion, because a person, if he is not economically included, there is no point that he can be financially included. So MSME sector is the sector that offers tremendous opportunity to financially include much more number of our population in a huge country like us. Thank you. I'll rest here, then possibly we can take the discussion forward going forward.
Fine. So let me now hand it over to Mr. Tully for initial remarks.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Professor Datta, and my colleague panelist, Acharya-ji, and a very warm good morning to you all. So regarding Bank of Baroda, as rightly said, because MSME, it is in a pyramid of the total ecosystem. MSME starts from the micro and goes up to medium. So we are funding from 5,000 rupees to let's say 150 crores of the proposals under MSME. So we are covering the mid-corporate sort of thing under MSME sector. So far as this, as rightly pointed out, what we have to say regarding assess, awareness, appropriateness, and affordability. Regarding assess, I would like to comment in this case, because the assess, these small entrepreneurs, particularly in micro sector, they are unable to have access to the financial system, in particular. So what Bank of Baroda is doing is we are moving towards the area of digitization. And regarding digitization, we were the first pioneer bank under this PM Swanidhi, wherein we did the funding up to 10,000 rupees through digitization process. So it helped a lot to the street vendors because the financial inclusion starts from there itself only, because once a street vendor is there and getting an amount of 10,000, and that too totally digitally without human intervention, because there are a lot of if and buts if he approaches a branch in particular and faces a lot of teething problems. So we took the initiative that let's start with digitization. And we are moving ahead in this digitization process, and going from this digitization from this 5,000, we are moving towards 5 crores of the loans, which will be totally processed through digital process. So once an entrepreneur, whosoever it is, the host-to-host facility will be provided in this. He will be having applying through the mobile and getting in principle approval. It will be moving directly to the branch, and from the branch that this assessment process papers will be provided and amount will be credited. So we are having a process in our Bank of Baroda to move from the manual operations to total digitization process. So that the accessibility part at the micro level can be addressed to. Otherwise, it will create a lot of in the times to come, because the digitization is the only way. So far as the awareness is concerned, because until and unless we make them aware how it has to be done and where it has to be done, we are holding lot of webinars. Lot of webinars are being held up nowadays. Recently, we had a webinar throughout the Gujarat through Teams only to provide them the data, what is being done, what Bank of Baroda is providing. We entered into MOU with Gujarat government, because Gujarat government came out with the process wherein whenever a license is required, if you want to start a unit, you immediately provide there will be a portal of Bank of Baroda, and they will have to apply for, through the portal, and immediately the permission for the loan can be granted through Bank of Baroda itself. We have come out with various, because the requirement of the working capital or the term loan facilities cannot be decided the bank from their side. So we are framing the policies and developing the policies and products in consultation with the borrowers. We have under the ODOP also, we are the bank wherein we had a digitization process. One district, one product. In UP, we started with the digitization. We have come out for the small vendors who are providing they are supplying to the e-commerce companies. We have started providing them the funding facilities on the invoice base, because the collateral is an issue. And the monitoring by the bank under the traditional way of funding is again an issue. So in that case, invoice-based funding we are providing, and that too at a digital platform. So we are having one of our department, DLD, Digital Lending Department, and through that platform, we have been able to induct approximately 20,000 plus customers who are in the these vendors to the e-commerce companies, and as an anchor, we have taken this Amazon and Flipkart into as an anchor for this. So under this ease of doing business, for the suitability, it is not the bank who is deciding what is to be provided to the customers, but it is the customers who are telling us, so that area-specific schemes can be derived at. So as of now, with Bank of Baroda, we are having approximately more than 30 plus area-specific schemes. Recently, we had an area-specific scheme for the Andhra Pradesh also, wherein we funded under Mudra loan 475 crores, covering approximately 10,000 vehicles, which are applying in Telangana district. So these are the various areas wherein we had done some innovative job, and we are looking forward that we should be digitized fully under MSME sector, so less of human intervention takes place.
Okay. So since, thank you very much for this initial remarks. And certainly, you know, the focus here is on financing. Okay. So, and as we know that being bankers and financial institutions, see, lend is the core activity, revenue generating activity. If you don't lend, it is the end. Let me put it very straight. Okay. Because deposit is a cost and lending is the revenue generating activity. And of course, the focus over the period have also shifted from class banking, okay, which means large corporates on the business side, and the elitist or high net worth individuals, to mass banking, where we came into retail banking and now micro banking. And that is where probably the MSME is becoming. And since it leads to risk diversification, okay, because exposure or ticket size, as very rightly both of you have put, it starts from 5,000 and goes up to crores. So essentially, compared to large, it makes sense also, business sense also for banking community. But again, there have been certain issues which are raised by few bankers. Okay, maybe because of bias or whatever. And I will just try to share with you, and then we'll say how you are addressing it so that the MSMEs becomes bankable. The issue is, we know we have to lend. Enabling environment has been created, ecosystem has been created, policy level RBI government is giving a lot of emphasis. So some of the issues which are there by some of the bankers they have raised is, one is lack of understanding of loan application requirements. Okay, I'll just say this is what the MSME says, bankers says about MSMEs. Second is, no creditable, traceable credit history. Credible, traceable history. Collateral, of course, is addressed to a great extent by the government schemes, wherein they give you the guarantees, back-to-back guarantees. And interest subvention is also there, I think, where SIDBI is acting as a nodal agency, if I'm right. And then inadequateness of the corporate governance, then shortcomings of the business management practices, and the attitudinal problem regarding the end use of money, particularly end use of money. So keeping these things in view, whatever traditional or innovative products, Mr. Tully, you think your bank has devised, okay, so that this is, it becomes, system becomes so robust that monitoring part becomes automatic, and the customers, the MSMEs becomes a bankable proposition. So over to you first, and then Dr. Acharya will take.
Professor has rightly said, because if we talk about the SMEs ability to raise their own contribution and ability to raise funds from the banking system, in a traditional way, yes, it is a Herculean task, because they do not understand what the basic of banking is, what the balance sheet is, what the profit and loss account statement is. They cannot appoint qualified chartered accountants, and they are not having the ability to pay for them as a consultancy. So what it is required is that the bank has to come out with the policies, rather, wherein they can have the bureau checks in place, wherein the systems are driven like that, and pre-approved sort of loans can be granted on the basis of their past track record. If they are having some, might be 3 months or 6 months past track record will also serve the purpose, because if they are having a banking statement, there are many of the fintech companies who are providing that how to analyze the current account statements and all this. So instead of banking upon the balance sheet and all this stuff, we can have a cash flow based funding in place. And so far as the monitoring is concerned, because it is very difficult to monitor, banks require you provide a stock statement, stock audit has to be done, so and so forth. It is also a Herculean task. So banks have come out with this invoice-based funding also, we in particular, supply chain finance and value chain finance. This is particularly related to when the host-to-host facility, when the bill is being raised and it is being confirmed by the anchor, the facility is being provided, although it is of unsecured nature, but the monitoring also becomes a greater part, because in this case, once the bill is not paid in time, so ultimately bank can take a call on that, even on the anchor as well as on the vendor or the supplier. So all these various initiatives which are being taken care of in the times to come will help a lot for the small, medium, micro and small enterprise in particular. Their monitoring as well as availing the funding from the banking system will not be a challenge as such, because nowadays what we are doing is data mining is being taken care of. Yes. So from our data mining, we are exploring the clients. Who are the clients who are having the good track record, so that we can provide them pre-approved credit facilities. Yes. We do not require any of the balance sheet and all these things, only the cash flow, the past cash flow and the bureau checks, nothing else. So up to 5 crores will be moving in such a manner that we do not have to analyze the financial ratios and other financial stuff. It will be simply based on their cash statements, cash flow statements. So once this is being implemented, this financial discipline and financial literacy to this micro and small enterprise can take place.
Okay. Dr. Acharya, your views? And
see, the first one was very pertinent, that how to make them bankable. You said the micro, small and medium enterprises, is the spectrum is so large that you cannot have actually one size fits all kind of an approach. Exactly. So from a small simple lathe machine to the enterprises manufacturing high precision equipment for use in spacecrafts, so this spectrum is too large. So when we actually together speak for the entire MSME, somewhere I think we have certain missing links. So I'll start with, because today's we are more towards financial inclusion and inclusive growth, etc. So I'll concentrate to micro and small. See, the first question, how actually we make them bankable? This is very, very valid question, because the small people, as was rightly pointed out by Mr. Tully, that, they cannot have specialized accounting persons and all. So it is basically one person kind of enterprises who have to do everything. And if you add to that the requirements of various government departments, etc., besides credit, it puts a tremendous stress on the person to actually manage the things. But how to make the first step to make a good project proposal, how to actually give him the required kind of support, so that he makes a proposal, he understands the nuances of it, he understands the uses, he understands the terms, and of course he understands the end use, importance of end use and returning the money to the banking system. Ultimately it is public money. So we have actually developed a portal called Udyami Mitra portal. It is a full service marketplace for MSME loans. When I say full service marketplace, it is for entrepreneurs, it is for bankers, it is for everyone. It is a marketplace. Anybody can come to the marketplace and pick up the loan applications and sanction it. And it is completely based on a fintech kind of technology. And here the entrepreneurs are helped to prepare their project reports. They are connected to the nearest mentors, so that they can be given mentoring support, how to actually handle a project, how to prepare a bankable project report, how to maintain possibly the balance sheet, uses of Tally, etc., etc. It is provided on that platform. And then once the project is ready, the proposal is ready, then it is there is a different section. Once the entrepreneur is ready for credit, then he is taken to that section, and he can choose his bank, and the loan application is directed by the system to the bank of his choice, bank and branch of his choice. So the lead is generated for the banks through this portal, and it is working very nice. In fact, the traction that we have got is very encouraging. Since last 3-4 years, the portal is in usage. So Udyami Mitra portal, I'll urge upon everyone to please visit the udyamimitra.in portal. Everything is connected to this portal. Even Mudra is connected to that, CGTMSE is connected to that, your Stand Up India is connected to that. So it is a whole service portal for MSME loans that is developed by SIDBI. Then we'll just briefly touch upon the schemes like, say, Mudra, CGTMSE, and Stand Up India. Stand Up India is precisely a scheme that was announced by Honorable Prime Minister as a complementary product to Mudra. Mudra is something that is up to 10 lakh of rupees, and Stand Up India is from more than 10 lakhs to rupees 1 crore for starting up a unit. It is for grassroots level greenfield units. It is not for expansion or modernization. It is for setting up a unit. The Stand Up India, and every bank branch is mandated that in a year they will be doing one loan to one STSC entrepreneur and one loan to a woman entrepreneur. So that is Stand Up India, fully automated. It is again it is also having presence on this marketplace, that is udyamimitra.in. So this is something that is there, and of course we are all aware about Mudra and CGTMSE. So I'll not talk about that. CGTMSE is again a subsidiary of SIDBI that is giving guarantee to the banks for their collateral free loans up to rupees 2 crores. And coming to the issue of some specialized product, SIDBI mostly is a refinancing institution, but SIDBI also has this unique position of offering direct loans to MSMEs on a selective basis. It is definitely not as any other bank. It is as a complementary, to complement the efforts of the banks. SIDBI also offers direct loans to MSMEs on selective basis. See, many often what happens is one of the requirements of MSMEs is they require, say, some machine. Say, for example, somebody needs a machine. If we go to a traditional bank, then time is at premium. If you go to NBFC, then cost is at premium, because NBFCs can dispense credit maybe in 7, 8, 10 days time, but the costing is very high. At the same time, if you go to through a normal banking channel, then definitely it will surely not happen in possibly 3, 4, 5 days time. So we understood this issue that MSMEs need credit in this. Supposing somebody wants a machine and immediately something is required. So we have based on cash flow positioned a product called Speed and Speed Plus, where it is positioned as having best features of both pricing and timing. The credit is dispensed we have, for that matter, we have entered into MOUs with 40-50 original equipment manufacturers. So due diligence part is taken care of in the beginning itself. No need for due diligence, no need for balance sheet analysis, nothing. Just the product is very, very simple and dispensed in 3-4 days time at a rate which is much cheaper than the NBFCs. So those kind of innovations are happening. One of the very interesting innovation was during the when last March the country went for a lockdown and the fear of pandemic was there. SIDBI came out with a product called SAFE, that is SIDBI assistance for emergency credit to fight coronavirus. So this was at that point of time, our country needed additional production of PPE kits, additional production of sanitizers and masks and the oximeters, the oxygen cylinders, you name it. So, but to immediately go for augment production, obviously the MSME units needed additional working capital. They cannot go to the bank and ask for an enhancement. So it takes time. So, but to help the country, to help the MSMEs, to in turn help the country to fight the coronavirus, we introduced this product called SAFE, which was promised to be delivered in 48 hours, to the MSMEs at a price of just 5%. Without any collateral security, and the CGTMSE is an insurance product, credit insurance. You have to pay premium also. That premium also was absorbed by SIDBI. So at that point of time, it was a product that actually helped the country to fight coronavirus. To some extent, we contributed, and the average delivery time under this product is 26 hours as against a promised time of 48 hours. It was delivered at an average time of 26 hours to the MSMEs. The sanction timing was 26 hours. So it was a very, very interesting product. So what I'm trying to say is when the demand comes, the product innovation happens, and it happens by leveraging the technology. Thank you.
I would like to add 2 things.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, as Dr. Acharya has specifically pointed out, because they are the prime institution under this MSME. So we are having, recently we had 2-3 MOUs with them. First MOU was related to this energy efficiency projects. So under energy efficiency projects, SIDBI is helping all the SME customers, wherein if the SMEs are procuring some energy efficiency products, so they are giving a guarantee for that, for the term loan. So whatever the risk sharing ratio is there, we are passing to the customers for their, as you rightly pointed out, affordability. So to make our term loans affordable with the help of SIDBI, we are doing that. Second MOU we did with the SIDBI recently is MOU related to the restructuring, wherein they had very beautifully come out with the concept of do it yourself, DIY. Do it yourself. Under this, all the MSME customers, they can restructure their account, and the restructuring facility, whatever they are doing through their portal, will be given to the branch. So a lot of many initiatives digitally are coming out from the SIDBI side as well as from the bank side. And whatever the refinances we are getting under the Swanidhi also, and the various other these government schemes, we as a banker, we intend to try out. It should be passed on to the beneficiaries as such. So one more point I would like to add is we had done a refinancing from the KfW Germany. It's a German bank, wherein solar roof panels, if they are being used by SMEs for their captive purposes, so those will be funded by us, and we will be getting a refinance from KfW, and whatever the interest benefit is there, will be passing on to the SMEs as such. So that their main cost, which is related to power as well as finance, both are being reduced.
Mr. Tully and Mr. Acharya, rightly you have touched and you have already addressed issues relating to use of technology. I have a very specific question to you, Mr. Tully, that would you like to share, some of the, initiative, very specific, wherein you think that processes have been streamlined, okay, and in what way it has actually benefited MSMEs community? What is your experience in the, say, last 2 or 3 years, which you think, and particularly now that new things are coming, like co-lending, guidelines have come. Okay. Similarly, now peer-to-peer lending platforms have come. Okay. Now then we have this, what we call as TRAD system. Okay. So many new things are coming. So how is it that your bank is trying to align your business processes with these kind of, now new things which are happening, and you think whether they are, posing competition or they are complementary and supplementary to your activities?
As rightly said, in the times to come, the banking sector will be totally different. It will be digitalized only. All the lending activities under MSME has to be digitalized. 2-3 years back, we started with the trades. Under trades, we have added many of the anchors, big anchors, so that the SME funding can take place. So we further added our supply chain department was there, wherein invoice funding can take place, and we added further value chain also, because supply chain was catering to the big corporates and big vendors. So to have a smaller one, we came out with the value chain finance, so that the entire ecosystem of a particular company can be addressed to. So recently, we are going to launch shortly now, because our department is ready with that. It will be digital lending to the Mudra customers. So up to 10 lakhs, it will be totally digitized, because the issue nowadays is because a lot of NPAs are coming out. So the field functionaries, particularly at the branch level, they feel shy if the account turns bad. So there will be some accountability issues. So to prevent that, the digitization process is there. There will be no accountability. Nothing will be there. If the account through algorithm based, if the facilities have been sanctioned digitally, there will be no accountabilities. So the end benefit will be to the MSME customer, wherein the customer will be applying through his app, through our app, and he will come to know whether he is eligible or not. If he is eligible, the information will go directly to the branch, and he has to execute the document, and the amount will be credited into it.
So, Mr. Tuli, do you think your officers are sensitized?
Yeah. Because we have started giving the workshops. Under Swanidhi also, we did it. We are doing it. It is through digital mode only.
And what's the response? General response?
General response was very good regarding digitization, because we were the pioneer in this under Swanidhi, wherein we provided the end-to-end solution digitally. The response is good, yes. And because smartphone is available to each and every person nowadays, even a small micro level person is also having a smartphone. So the only thing is that we have to do the marketability of these things, so that people can come to know. Even the DFS, they have been giving targets to various, to all the public sector banks and private sector banks to have this Q code, how to assess that Q code. So 1 rupee transaction has to be done, so that they come to know how it is being assessed to that. So our bank has taken a challenge in this under co-lending also, because I am heading the SME and looking after the co-lending. With the 2-3 NBFCs, we have already entered into a common lending program. And under this, after doing the CLP, we will be doing the lending activities. Not digitally as of now, it will be partially digitally, because the APIs of both the institution of the NBFC as well as the bank has to be connected. So it is posing a challenge for all the banks as such, because there is no such common technology which APIs can be connected. But yes, by 31st March, our bank will be the pioneer in having a first disbursement to under co-lending program also. Even the reviews up to 25 lakhs, we are doing it digitally, because the companies, small companies, particularly also at 25 lakhs wala companies, they are not in a position to provide you the financial data. So it will be totally digitized. They will be putting their basic information, and the account will be reviewed. So these are the various steps which we have already taken, and a lot of things are yet to come.
Okay. Since we have now around 10 minutes left, so I'll go to now Mr. Acharya. And Mr. Acharya, if I was to summarize as a professor, the whole activity, I will say discover means lead generation, cover and recover. Okay, that's how I look at it from the lending perspective. And you being from the refinancing side primarily, but yes, you said you are direct into lending also. And I saw one working paper wherein, SIDBI came out with the factoring, very elaborate guidelines. And that is why in the trades, SIDBI has a long contribution. So do you think that trades is actually contributing, or there is an adequate awareness among the MSMEs for this platform?
Okay. I'll address this trades thing, but you discussed about the technology part and how
Yeah,
actually
please,
the
please
banks
go
are
ahead.
leveraging
You have a
technology.
limited time, please.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me remain with
I know. In the interest of time, I will just very very briefly touch upon, including trades. See, lot many issues are there. MSME sector, as I said, it is a very huge sector with so many crores of units and across the length and breadth of the country. So it's not that once we introduce something, it becomes a panacea to solve each and every problem. Problems will keep on coming, propping up, and we'll have to come out with solutions to actually address that. In November 2008, Honorable Prime Minister of India inaugurated one fintech platform that is run by SIDBI, that is PSB Loans in 59minutes.com.
Yeah.
So this PSB Loans in 59minutes.com is precisely the fintech platform that banks are using, and the MSMEs can actually onboard the platform and apply for a loan to the bank of their choice, bank and the branch of their choice. You talked about the Mudra loans. The Mudra loans have also now been onboarded into this platform. So even if somebody needs a Mudra loan, he or she can apply through PSB loans, including the vehicle loans, personal loans. Everything has now been synchronized with the PSB loans platform. Number one. And number two, your question about this MSME is getting loan ready. I'll tell you that SIDBI and CIBIL, CIBIL TransUnion, they have actually come out with something called MSME Saksham. If you visit this, Google this MSME Saksham.
Yeah, I've been to that.
Yeah, MSMEs can actually understand whether they are credit ready or not. What is so this is something that is before you actually go to the bank, there are a lot many steps. It's a problem is MSMEs because of lack of the awareness, education, or the kind of knowledge of business.
Dr. Acharya, I'm just coming in between. Just one moment. That's what I'm saying. Things are there, but that dissemination of information, there is a lot of information asymmetry. That part how we are addressing.
I fully agree with you. There comes the role of the industry bodies, the industry associations. Today, the industry associations actually have to, it is banks and financial institutions like SIDBI are doing, Reserve Bank of India are also doing. But the industry associations have a very, very large role to play to make their affiliates know what exactly are these schemes and the programs of government, the financial institutions, banks are available. And they have to actually play a very, very large role to create awareness amongst their own members. So I urge upon ICC also to please do this. I think they are doing this, but possibly much more is needed to be done, keeping in view the size of the problem. So MSME Saksham is one. Then you talked about the trades. Trades, in this trade receivable e-discounting system. It was first in 2010, SIDBI started it with its own customers. And gradually it thought, because SIDBI is the financial institution which is introducing various products and then leaving it to the banking system to adopt it. SIDBI actually experiments with the financial products itself first and then leaves it to the financial system, banking system to adopt it. So the same thing happened, in case of this growth capital, that 10,000 crore, this MSME growth fund is Self-Reliant India Fund that has been created. That again, SIDBI had a product called GEMS, that is Growth and Equity Capital for MSMEs. GEMS product. The product was experimented, and now it is now given to the banks and the government to adopt it and roll it out across the nation. So this one in 2010 we started off, and then in 2014-15 we thought then this is now ready, that for the entire banking system can possibly adopt it. Entire MSME system can take advantage of it, not just SIDBI's customers. And we had approached the Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India gave permission to start these platforms. And now there are 3 platforms. The SIDBI platform is known as RXIL, Receivable Exchange of India Limited.
Yes.
There, and the Government of India has made it mandatory that any corporate having more than 500 crore turnover has to mandatorily onboard this platform. So gradually, it takes time. Now credit guarantee scheme everybody knows. It took 2 decades for people to actually know this. So trades also is gaining traction, and I'm sure it is just 3-4 years. It is still in its infancy. And going forward, if all invoices are generated like the NAFEN system of Mexico, and it is automatically onboarded through a digital platform, and it is going to happen. Everything is digitized, so it is going to happen one day or the other. then the system will be so transparent that the receivable finance issue that actually this that is one of the biggest issues of the MSMEs, that to realize their receivables is going to be addressed through this platform in times to come. So the beginning has been made. I think it is for the MSMEs, it is for the corporates to take advantage of the system and see that the efforts that is being rolled out by the financial institutions, by government, by Reserve Bank, by banks are duly used by the MSMEs wherever possible.
And now coming to since we are virtually we have 5-6 minutes left, but we all know that banking without risk is yet to be invented. So that being the case, and as bankers, if we are too much risk averse, okay, then naturally we are not to be there. Okay, and MSMEs, yes, vulnerabilities are there. There are defaults. Okay, but ticket size is low. So we can take a call, and in pricing, we have to take the risk premium also besides cost of funds into consideration. But understanding all these kind of issues, okay, and which is a reality, we accept it, we don't accept it. So that being the case, now the final issue is that what are specific risks, okay, or challenges you have experienced particularly. Okay, because being a commercial bank, representing a commercial bank slowly, while lending to MSMEs, okay, how do you address them? What are the specific steps you have taken?
If we talk about this risk involved, particularly for SME, it is mainly related to their ability to bring their own funds, number one, and ability to raise funds from the other sources. So first is this issue, and if we talk about the risk, there is a business risk, operational risk, credit risk. These various risks are already there, and to counter that, because if we depend upon there are many cases which we have seen is once the small promoter gets the money, they immediately start buying a house, they immediately use the fund, diversified, purchase a big car, they are flush with funds, they have started an industry. So it is the trust which has to be there, and their concentration towards the work has to be there. Because once they come to know, yes, financial indiscipline takes place, then there is a downward curve of the organization. And once they are totally interested, I have seen many of the small organizations which are now mid corporates. I lended them 2 crores or 3 crores. Now they are more than 100 crores of mine, and they know me because I'm into credits in last 22 years. So there are many of such cases also. There are other cases. So wherein they were given certain credit and they have defaulted. Ultimately, they become bankrupt and everything they are lost. So it is the moral responsibility of the SMEs that they should use the funds and do the business properly. And to counter that, because the NPAs are rising because of this only, and to counter that, the invoice funding has taken place to prevent that risk. So monitoring from the bank's part has become through inventory funding only. Bill to bill funding will be there.
So see, that's what we are saying, that we need to inculcate that kind of a what we say atmosphere among the MSMEs, that if you have to grow, okay, then you have to be very transparent. Okay, whatever you share with the banks, and particularly now that we are moving from collateral to cash flow based, as you very rightly said. So in cash flow, it is total, transparency, and unless otherwise there's a trust, okay, this system is not going to work. So people needs to be, kind of sensitized that if you want to grow, okay, this is a pyramiding effect. So if you want to scalability, if you want, then slowly, gradually, you have to adapt to the new practices. And that's where probably your bankers are also playing. See, that's what I'm saying. It is lending is not just about money. Mr. Acharya also said to that. So going in that direction, Mr. Acharya, do you think that sufficient, steps have been already initiated, or more needs to be done, sir?
See, we have to, accept the fact that, I will end with where I started. Actually, the informal nature of the MSMEs is one of the biggest risks that possibly the banks have to face, or the MSME sector have to face. See, not long ago, I don't know whether it is politically correct to say it or not, many MSMEs were maintaining 2-3 sets of balance sheets. I think it is an open secret. So if we are not transparent, if we are not kind of very loyal to the banks or loyal to our work, then there is a trust deficit. What happens, the because of 2-3% of such kind of acts, possibly as I was telling you, the perception changes, and some kind of bias happens. But that is a thing of the past. Today with the GST regime, today with more and more digitization, today when everything can be actually probed into, and you can actually find out what is the truth. So these things are substantially reduced, but the informal nature of the sector still remains. I think gradually, as the sector becomes more and more formal, the credit flow to the sector also will increase. But having said that, we also have to accept that MSMEs, where the people who are at the top end of the pyramid will not face any difficulty, but people who are at the bottom end of the pyramid, say for example a small barber shop, or say for example somebody having a small leather machine, they will continue to have problems. So we cannot actually have the banking system as a panacea for the credit needs of all these people. So that is the reason why microfinance movement was started by SIDBI in this country. That is how fintech companies are actually gaining momentum. They are the people who will be using very high-end algorithms and machine learning, and they will be analyzing the digital footprints of these people, and then prepare a cash flow, and based on that possibly they will lend them 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees, and then that starts from a 1 month cycle, 2 month cycle, 3 month cycle, like that. So we have to have multiple approaches. It not just the approaches to the banks, but approaches of the microfinance institutions, the fintech companies, the NBFCs. I think together the ecosystem is evolving, and digitalization and leveraging of technology is something that is required to reach out to the maximum number of people, because we still struggle with the issue of informal nature of the economy. And gradually, as we become formal, all these things are going to be evened out, surely.
So, Tuli and Dr. Acharya, we are almost now, at the end of this panel discussion, and both of you have very immensely contributed and addressed almost all the issues about which we were deliberating. Now, as a concluding remark, and to sum up, what I could gather from what two of you have, articulated, is that better examination of a financial, I will say, or creating awareness or information, essentially it will lead to better usage of financial products. Okay, and there is a solution-oriented approach now, which is need-based. I think Mr. Tuli specifically mentioned about it, that all the products which are being designed, okay, now it is not that they are imposed. Now we get, feedback from the users. And ultimately, if product is not user-friendly, there's no point in designing such a product. Okay, so we have to take the continuous feedback from the users and refine and make changes into our products. Plus, financial products, as you know, they have a lot of regulatory aspects. So, which of course, even if we like, we can't ignore as bankers, because there are regulatory agencies. Okay, so now, if it is solution-oriented approach, it will lead to better usage, because it will be appropriate products. And when product is appropriate, it reduces the misuse of the financial resources, okay, automatically, or abuse, or what we say, diversion of funds. Okay, because if a person knows I have to grow, and bankers are willing, and they are now adopting, kind of a cash flow based approach. So if they don't see word trust itself, if you remove the word T from trust, it rusts. So we have to be very clear about this. This is a speaking word, and trust is not created in one day. So that's why the trail, as you said, digitization leads to trail. So automatically you can, do the monitoring part of it. So once we can avoid this diversion of funds, okay, it means it will automatically leads to low risk. Okay, and low risk essentially means our default rate will come down, and lower risk will always increase the trust factor automatically. Okay, and trust will reduce friction, and lead to seamless transactions. So to sum up, I will say is that as financial institutions, okay, we need to follow solution-oriented approach. We need to, embrace technology to have or digitization for, greater access. Okay, and we have to create value proposition. Okay, and to last is we have to continuously engage and educate the MSMEs, because this sector, as we say, is they are used to informal, procurement of money. And once we are bringing them into mainstream, we are duty bound that we must follow. So this we call it as SAVE. SAVE means solution. Okay, because otherwise they always talk about the piece. Okay, so it is not product, we say solution. It is not place, we are talking about access. Okay, it is not price. What is important today is value proposition. Okay, and it is not promotion, it is the continuous engagement which will help us in, resolving the issues. So once again, thank you very much to both of you. And now it is over to the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Datta. I was listening to the deliberations of Dr. Acharya, whom I know very well. He has been part of many ICC programs for the last few years. He has keen interest in startup and very, very passionate person to see MSMEs and startups grow. Thank you, Mr. Tuli. In fact, Bank of Baroda, incidentally, are bankers of ICC also. Bulk of our activities, our accounts are maintained with Bank of Baroda, incidentally. So coming back to the point, it was all very, very meaningful points which were discussed and deliberated. Professor Vinay Datta, as usual, is an articulate and erudite academician who will enumerate things in the rightful manner. ICC will continue to work with SIDBI as we have been doing in the past, in the pre-COVID days. We will take the guidance of Dr. Acharya. He is one of the brains behind this SIDBI National MSME Awards, and we will also continue to work with Bank of Baroda. Because these are the ways we can truly serve the nation, truly serve the Indian industry. If MSMEs grow, a lot of people grow, the families grow, and ICC will not fail upon its duty to serve the MSMEs, obviously, as a major component of Indian economy. And obviously, we would like to have SIDBI and Bank of Baroda as our comrade in arms. Thank you so much. We will now move to the next session. May I now request Mr. Khatri, the moderator for the next session, to take charge of things and take things forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dev Malya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dev Malya. Good morning, everybody. So as the next session topic is logistics challenges post-COVID and way forward. A lot has been deliberated on the finance side for MSME, but finance is still better in MSME compared to the logistics. There are multiple reasons. One is finance as a market is a regulated market. So every MSME is having at least one chartered accountant, full-time or part-time. No foundation for any such thing in the logistics. So definitely it remains unattended. Most of the service providers, if you find in Indian context in logistics, are themselves MSME. So they also faces that challenges. So it's more complex. I always say that finance definitely is considered that it's a oxygen for any business. But if you consider the overall supply chain, then it's your nervous system. It's not oxygen. Without oxygen, you cannot live, but without nervous system, if your nervous system is not working properly, you cannot even walk a single step. So moving from there, not only post-COVID, even pre-COVID, and always I have been in the logistics domain since many years. I always see that MSME faces a lot of challenges in terms of efficiency, in terms of missing opportunities, in terms of cost management. There are multiple challenges for them. And now I would like to welcome our panelist, very important panelist on our panel, First is Dr. Venkat. He is professor in IIM Lucknow for operation and supply chain field. Having more than 3 decade experience in academics, he has been associated with all top IIMs, IIM Kozhikode, IIM Lucknow, IIM Indore. Second panelist is Dr. Mohita. She is professor from the Fore School of Management, and she also have almost 2.5 decade experience. And the good part, she has been towards the industry side as well as on the academic side. Third panelist is Mr. Ronak. He is director from VTrans. VTrans is a established logistics company, more than 6 decade old established company. And the best part, they are a company which have grown with the MSME clientele. Their most of the clientele still is MSME. And our last panelist is Mr. Tapaswi. He is head of the logistics in Henkel, carries a rich experience in multiple industries. He has worked in cement, food, liquor, chemical, multiple industries. So the best part of overall panel, I will say it's having panelist or representation from industry, from the service provider, from the academics. So that's the best part. Coming back to our topic, as I told that it's the most complex thing overall. MSME faces multiple challenges, which we said. So our first question will be to Dr. Venkat, that in macroeconomics environment, how you see MSME sector and its challenges for the MSME sector, especially when we say 40% of the GDP exports contribution is from the MSME sector, 28% is from the 28% of the GDP comes from the MSME sector. It employs more than 60 million people. How do you see challenges for the MSME sector?
Very good afternoon to everyone and my fellow panelists and ICC, Mr. Rahul, and my own good friend and our former student, Mr. Vikash, and the entire team. And let me start with, there are attendees, about 40 plus were there. Now it is about 36 or 48, somewhere around 48, now 36. Now, this is where one of the challenges, when even this ICC wants to educate and facilitate in this, but the MSMEs do not have time. The first and foremost thing for MSMEs is that they have to run their shop. Taking time is the most difficult thing. And in fact, I'll attribute this to my own experience of organizing a one-day event for the benefit of MSMEs at IIM Lucknow Noida campus. We are set up this institute in Noida, particularly to catering to the needs of the local industry. And Noida Management Association is next door. And a lot of MSMEs are located in Noida. And for that matter, NCR is one of the biggest belt in terms of MSMEs. And when you say something about the brand of the institutions also, you know very well that one thing that we are facing, or rather, let me put it this way, more than MSMEs facing the problem, others who are facing the problem to serve or to access MSMEs. We are talking about access to finance, access to markets, access to this, that, etc. And for education institutions, accessing MSMEs is the biggest hurdle. Let me tell you. Same must be the case with Ronak company or even the other Henkel, etc. Because they think that anybody else who is coming to help them, they are a disturbance to their job. This is the mindset. One of the biggest challenges of MSMEs, they have to come out with, overcome from that mindset that I need to take consultation. I need to take advice. I need to undergo training. So before you go to bank, you see, bank is money is one part. There's no doubt. Market is another part. But how capable you are in making your product or service presentable. I'll just give 2-3 examples and then I will stop with that. When we're working with, Ministry of Commerce and Department of Industrial Infrastructure and Technology, this DPIIT, through government, the sponsored project, interacted with a lot of MSMEs and stakeholders and banks and whatnot. One thing that we found was that there is a lack of trust. And the earlier, panel, I think SIDBI General Manager, I think Acharya has clearly mentioned, there is a deficit of trust. Deficit of trust everywhere. So this is one of the biggest challenges. How do you bring? If I trust, then only I will go to doctor. If I trust, I will only talk to my friend.
Hello.
If I don't trust, where is the question? I think Mohita ji, you can mute your mic, please. Yes, the trust deficiency is one thing, and the institutions we are talking about, banks or CDB, etc., etc. And I think there is a lot of things that needs to be done. And as you are aware that trust among partners reduces the transaction cost. That is the fundamental building block of any business, including supply chain. How do you build trust among the partners? You don't need to trust everybody with whom you are doing business, but you cannot distrust everybody. That is the one point. Another important challenges that I would put it as, while working with the industry in MSMEs in indoor cluster, I worked with the cluster participation, stakeholders in a big way. What we found was the technological capabilities. Suppose if somebody is, the panel members, I request.
God bless you, sir.
Sir, Professor Vinay Datta, sir, can you keep your mic mute, please? And technical capabilities. I'm doing one lathe. Can I migrate from lathe to latest version of, let us say, CNC machine? Technology adaptation is one of the challenges. And financial, even if the bank is ready to give some loans to, see, everybody blames the banks and other financial institutions. And there is a bank who is having a lot of money. What will they do by keeping that money with them? They want to give this money to the people and then get their money back. As Professor Datta said, cover and recover. And there is both the problem. There is a good institution. So for them, banks are interested to give money, but they are not in a position to take that money. And the manpower capability. For example, one of the biggest difficulties is the manpower, be it technical manpower, logistics manpower, or digital. Today, you are talking about digital. As you rightly said, there is an auditor for every service. There is no such service for supply chain audit. I think there is a huge opportunity for creating such kind of lead assessors or supply chain auditors or supply chain managers can be created. It's like a qualification. A certified professional. There is a certification courses available. The certified professional who can provide supply chain solutions to MSMEs, like auditor providing financial audit services and technical services for that matter. And another last point is the capacity expansion. They want to be local. They don't want to move away from that region. I am supplying to 3 companies. If the 4th company comes, say, I'm sorry, I cannot. My capacity is already exhausted. They are highly risk averse. They just want to continue the status quo. Unless this mindset goes away, it is very difficult. If you look at the MSMEs in the country, within the country, I'm sorry to bring the regional issue. It's not about regional. That just to understand what is happening in the southern part of the country and northern part of the country. If you see MSME counterparts in southern part and northern part, and in particular, IMSME of India, Faridabad, I am a member of that also. There's a lot of developmental activities that are happening. For example, they have something called the IMSME of India. They have multiple services.